Well, good evening, everyone. If you don't have a seat, don't be afraid. You can come up toward the front. We're thrilled that you are all here tonight. This is our official kickoff of NACCE's 16th annual conference. So we have people here from all over the country. We have wonderful programs planned. But none of this would certainly be possible without our sponsors. So I would like to give a special thank you to HP Life, the Direct Selling Educational Foundation, Eli, the Entrepreneurial Learning Initiative, Intuit Education, University of Florida DBA program, and the Sequoia Fund, Real Entrepreneurship. So let's give our sponsors a great round of applause as we begin. So as we get started on this conference, I think the NACCE staff, which I also want to thank, they're in the room, Amy and Leah especially, that all of you know, have worked so hard. We have a new staff member, Katie Calabrese, who's joining us as well. But as a staff and as a board and kind of as a, I guess, a movement in a way, at NACCE, we try to really step outside of our comfort zone. So I want everybody to raise their hand if you are going to step out of your comfort zone. And if you don't raise your hand and your neighbor needs help, raise his or her hand, okay? Because the only way really to be entrepreneurial is to do that, and we have a lot to celebrate. So thanking the sponsors, I wanted to really give a shout out to all of our Verizon Innovative Learning partners that are in the room. I don't know if Phil is here yet from Verizon, but we have been engaging in this project with 16 colleges, and it's been just a wonderful experience for us. We served over 1,300 middle school girls this summer alone at 16 college campuses. Please give these Verizon colleges a round of applause. You're doing wonderful work. Thank you. And I wanted to start out by just sharing with you one little nugget that we learned at Arizona State University when we went through this training. And it's a phrase I hear Leah Deppert use a lot, and I try to use it a lot. Instead of saying, well, this can't work because, or I'm worried about, just reframe your language. Say, how might we? And I think it can really change everything, because if you start to look at the world in terms of what we might do together versus all the reasons that it's not going to work, it's a very game-changing thing. So I see Doris Lutz in the audience. So hi, Doris. She delayed her retirement so she could continue to work with NACCE and the Verizon Innovative Learning Program. Thank you, Doris. So you will be hearing from her. But it was a great pleasure for me to travel out to Nebraska and see just this beautiful sea of corn, but also see this beautiful sea of girls. And I'm telling you, it was the most profoundly impacting experience along with visiting the others. So you're going to hear about that, and we want to encourage you to do certain special things. So one other thing we're trying to really talk about is our NACCE book. So I wanted to just give a quick shout out to all the chapter authors. If you're here, wave your hands, because I really appreciate each and every one of you. This is a great resource that we're going to be talking about. It literally has almost taken us 2 years to pull this together, and we never could have done it without the board's support and with the support of all of you. So we really, truly appreciate that. The chapter authors are going to be honored at a smaller dinner later on tonight, but certainly you'll have a chance to interact with them. So I especially want to thank my co-editor, Ron Thomas. Are you in the room yet? I know Ron is traveling from Minnesota. Stand up, my co-author. This is not possible without a person like this. Ron Thomas is one of the founders of NACCE on the board side, along with a lot of people in the room. And when the board said, you know, we'll kind of get behind this book, but there's no way you can pull this off unless you have a good partner, and that partner was Ron Thomas. So thank you for all that you're doing and all that you will do. The other people listed that you'll see throughout the conference, Andy Stoll, Bree Lengamo, Andy Gold, and Mary Beth Curley, Chancellor Giovannini, Christopher Mullen, Doan Winkle, Steve Tello, Deborah Hoover, Chuck Terrell and Joe Kapp, Chancellor Madeline Pumariega and Carrie Henderson, Vice Chancellor Von Quinlivan, Emeritus Chancellor Rufus Glasper, and of course, the infamous Noah Brown, all made this possible. So please thank them on behalf of all of us. Once you have the opportunity to experience this, you'll see what we mean. So I wanted to do that quickly and talk a little bit more about some of the things that we've got going on with the conference. But at this point, what we want to do is really highlight some of the things that are so special about NACCE. And to do that, I would like to call our chair, Dr. Susan May, to the stage. She is the president of Fox Valley Technical College in Appleton, Wisconsin. And there are several Fox Valley people here, so why don't we give Dr. May a warm welcome.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It is certainly my pleasure to welcome you to the 16th Annual NACCE Conference. The theme for this year is the Entrepreneurial Ecosystem Revolution. I'd like to begin this afternoon by recognizing the NACCE Board of Directors for their service to our organization. We have quite a few of our board members here today. Would you all please stand so that we can recognize your service to NACCE? Thank you so much. This is a wonderful group of people that I really have the great pleasure of working with and serving this organization with along the way. Over the course of the next 4 days, you will have an opportunity to learn and to build relationships with other educators and leaders. We hope that this experience will empower you to better see and use assets within your college and community's unique ecosystem. One way that NACCE shares best practices in entrepreneurial education and leadership is by hosting conferences like this, publishing a journal, and sharing best practices. This is NACCE's platform. It's brought to life through our members serving members approach. I want to encourage each of you to think about how you can use your platform to increase your effectiveness in the classroom, on campus, and in the community. Here are just a few suggestions. Number one, designate resources to encourage innovation. For presidents and administrators, that means funding for projects and staff time. For faculty members, it is also time and the openness to approach teaching in a new way. Use the experiential exercises that you will learn at this conference and take those home. For everyone, it's making a commitment to looking for entrepreneurial opportunities and collaborating with others. Second, work with industry partners. There is a great synergy in collaborating with businesses that want to grow and prosper. This requires an outward focus, a service and support mentality, and a spirit of looking for what it is that we can create together. Third, build credibility and trust with your board. Making the case for investment in new initiatives and innovative ideas requires building trust and establishing credibility. At Fox Valley Technical College, we began with one strategic investment that our board was willing to make in a new initiative. And over the years, this has now exceeded 70 such investments by our board. Fourth, use your platform. Thinking and acting like an entrepreneur, especially in higher education, requires that we use the assets at hand. Presidents have the opportunity to highlight examples of innovation in their publications and in various media sources and outlets. Faculty and administrators also have the opportunity to impact students and colleagues by learning and supporting innovative approaches to teaching across all disciplines. And finally, think and act like a business person. Our students are customers, our customers. Employers are our customers. Our colleagues, business leaders, and community members can help us advance our work. Think about your markets, your products, and your services. Think far beyond academia. Just like businesses, we need to be agile and open to constant change if we are not only going to survive, but to thrive. At this time, I would like to thank Chancellor Giovannini and his staff for serving as the host college for the 2018 NACCE conference. Jean is the immediate past chair for NACCE and has been an instrumental part of NACCE's growth over the last several years. Please help me welcome to the stage Dr. Jean Giovannini.
Thank you very much, Dr. May. Over the course of the next several days, we will have over 400 NACCE members from around the country here in Fort Worth to learn, share, and collaborate. We're so glad to welcome you to our vibrant city, and as you may have already experienced, the weather changes about every 7.5 minutes. Putting an event together requires an enormous amount of creativity and energy. I would like to thank the TCCD Volunteer Committee for working so hard and so well with the NACCE staff to plan this year's conference. I would like them to stand and be recognized. Let's give them a round of applause. Tarrant County College District is one of the nation's largest urban, multi-campus, comprehensive two-year community colleges, serving approximately 100,000 unique learners per year. At TCC, we recognize that we have tremendous assets and a platform to serve as a catalyst for growth in this region. We also recognize that we have the capacity to provide services more broadly in this region and throughout this part of the country. Over the past year, we have been working with NACCE to create a center of practice to support the work of innovation and entrepreneurship. You will be hearing more about this over the next couple of days. Central to the success of expanding services in support to NACCE members, I have a comprehensive playbook for presidents, leaders, and educators and change makers. By tapping into the NACCE network, we were able to get entrepreneurial faculty, presidents, chancellors, foundation leaders, and policymakers to share their ideas, action steps, and resources in the form of a new book entitled Community Colleges and Incubators for Innovation. The title of my chapter is Building an Entrepreneurial Ecosystem, Innovate and Flourish. I want to share with you a model for building an entrepreneurial ecosystem. You can see in the spokes around the innovative and thrive, mission, IT, project management, team development, trust, and importantly, on the outer core is innovation, strategy, changing environment, workforce planning, client, and community needs. And no, I'm not going to take the next 45 minutes to explain all of this. We will explore these issues over the next several days. I encourage you to network and to find resources and tools that you can take back to your college and your community. So on behalf of Mayor Betsy Price from the city of Fort Worth and its 800,000 plus residents, I welcome you. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, who is a rodeo cowgirl, cattle rancher, and Harry S. Truman Scholar. Kam Phillips. Let's give her a round of applause.
It is truly my honor to be here, and I am so excited to share with you. I'm so thrilled that you chose to be in Fort Worth. It's such a special place. I counted yesterday that I've been on 24 flights this year, and I have heading to Shanghai and Beijing on Tuesday. And so every single time I touch down at DFW Airport, I realize once again that Fort Worth is such a special place. And so I'm so happy that you are here. I want you to imagine for a second that every student that crossed your path was given the tools and resources necessary to change the world as we know it. Every student, every potential entrepreneur, everyone that you meet. At 17, I went off to the University of Missouri, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and not even old enough to vote. And I went with the audacious fearlessness that I could and would achieve anything that I dreamed of doing. I was raised in a barn in Fort Worth, Texas, and I say that often because it's who I am, but I really need you to understand that it was a barn. Like, it wasn't the barn dominiums that you see on TV. I shared a roof with my horses, and that foundation was everything that you really need to know about me, but really the only box that I had growing up. I was a goat tying, barrel racing, stall mucking, bareback riding, unapologetic rodeo cowgirl. And although I had all of these fabulous experiences, I didn't feel particularly privileged. I'm the daughter of two incredible, brilliant parents who themselves attended community colleges, but didn't have the opportunity to complete or obtain the degrees that they sought after. So I went off to Mizzou, striving to be the first in my household to obtain said degree. And along the way, I met a young man named Miles at a local after-school program. At 9 years old, I won't get too far into the weeds about Miles and what he and I discussed, but he was extraordinarily precocious and full of energy that I wish that I could bottle and sell as an entrepreneur. And yet, surprising to me at the time, he was completely dispirited about the possibilities for his future. Miles believed that no one had his best interest at heart and had very little insight about the options for him moving forward. So we made a deal. I'd keep coming back. He started to trust me, and his behavior got a little better each week. But better is kind of an understatement when his favorite thing to do when we met was to throw rocks at cars. So we were on the upward trajectory no matter what we did. I asked the Boys and Girls Club director if I could show them something else, them meaning Miles and all of his friends. I didn't know what the possibilities were, but I know now what I believed then, which is you can only dream what you've seen. So I wanted to expose the children of that community center to something different each week. The Boys and Girls Club director was very dismissive and said, sure, be my guest, do whatever, because so many people had come in and said they'd do something and they didn't. And so, with the green light that I needed at 17, I went off. I hunted down everyone that I could to come into that center. I remember the fencing team was something that I particularly wanted to come in. We did forensics and chemistry and something different every week, but I was determined to get fencing. And so they told me, we're sorry, we have to go to Texas for a tournament. And in Missouri, Texas sounds very far away. But me, being from Fort Worth, I said, oh, Texas, you say? And tracked them down, drove a few hours, showed up at their tournament, and by golly, they were there to serve our kids and expose them to something that they would not have otherwise had access to see. I was determined to make sure that every child had the exposure to a world of possibilities for their future. And now, today, at Dream Outside the Box, each week, we mobilize college students into what I call dream deserts to engage children in hands-on experiential learning week after week. But starting was far from easy, and I constantly had administrators, directors, teachers who discouraged me from even trying. Sure, they'd seen failures in their path, but we as leaders can get jaded or even a little burned out and worn down. I couldn't have started Dream Outside the Box today, because today I think about things like liability and permission slips and things that are very boring. But then at 17, I thought, why wouldn't you bring a horse to a Boys and Girls Club? Why wouldn't you bring a 2,000-pound animal into the backyard of a community center? It made perfect sense to me, and when I got pushed back, I just explained how to hook up a truck and a trailer. It was very, very simple. I was raised in a culture that you cowgirl up and get her done. And as you go back to your respective campuses, you will undoubtedly have students who come to you with ideas. You will have colleagues who approach you with innovation. You can make a difference. And for your students, I encourage you to get out of their way. That sounds harsh, but you have to let them lead and support them with mentorship. It's easy these days to question ideas without seeing the finish line. Think about a time when someone came to you with an idea and you were dismissive. I do it often, and I wish that I didn't. We all have an example, whether it's your son, daughter, coworker, or students. Did you think that they couldn't do it because maybe you thought that you couldn't do it? Thinking about our own personal strengths, we have to understand our toolbox, but we can't apply that universally. I can barrel race, tie a calf, but I can't necessarily water ski. These skills, these strengths are not always translatable. And so it's important for us as leaders to encourage, step out of the way, and make sure that we are supporting. When I started Dream Outside the Box, I wrote down every idea, every meeting, every person that I met with in a notebook. On the front of that notebook was a quote that said, "In the midst of our lives, we must find the magic that makes our souls soar." When you see a student or a partner with their souls soaring, do not attempt to pull them back down. Allow them to jump off a cliff and get wings on the way down. I don't want to discourage you from sowing positive seeds into students and mentoring them in a meaningful way. When we started Dream Outside the Box, a mentor told me, "Kam, you are not a leader. You are operating on strong personality. Until you can walk away from this and it not fail, until you can be sick one day and this thing keep going on, you are not a leader." I was 17 or 18 at the time, and I was outraged. I had the audacity to believe that I was the best darn leader there ever was, and in hindsight, I was among the worst. She was right. I wasn't a leader. But without that encouragement and insight, we wouldn't have 16 college chapters across the nation today. We wouldn't have an app that our college students access curriculum and outcome evaluation on. We wouldn't have a subscription box service that drives sustainable revenue towards our bottom line. And we wouldn't have served children all across this nation. As leaders, you have incredible wisdom, and you have an opportunity to be a strong support system on the road to making a difference. We know that the most dangerous phrase in the English language is, "Well, this is the way that we've always done it," and we've got to push past that towards innovation. I'll tell you my favorite example of doing things a little differently, and it's a personal one, but entrepreneurial. Immediately after I was engaged to my now husband, I knew based on conversations that we'd had growing up my entire life that my father was not going to pay for a wedding. He would say, "I ain't paying for no party," every chance he got. And so I knew that this wasn't gonna happen, but I still bought the bridal magazines anyway, and I still would flip through them. And one day he came into the kitchen and he said, "All right, what could you do with 5 cows? And I knew immediately what that meant. So my eyes lit up, and I knew where this was going, and I was 5 bovines richer and not a day wiser, so I signed myself up for cattle classes. I learned how to market my herd more effectively. I learned the hard way that global currency values and global stock markets affect the beef prices. I learned a lot in that time. Over the course of those 2 years of turning instantly into a cattle rancher, I'd be in these classes with these ranchers learning to market my herd, and they'd have 1,000 head of Angus, they'd have 10,000 cattle or 500, and I had 5, and I was gonna get the most I could get with those 5. And so I'd go showing up just like any other rancher in my spurs, and I definitely had the smallest herd of anyone. But I learned over those 2 years about resource management, about protecting a commodity, about maximum return on investment, and personal investment on a long-term value proposition. I learned to be an entrepreneur in that time, and I was the most entrepreneurial bride you could have found at that time. But I appreciated this lesson, and it wasn't the first time that my father had applied that skin in the game experience. There are a few things that I love more than rodeo, but rodeo is not cheap. And so at 9 years old, I had to create a business selling horse shavings for the bedding and the stalls to clients in the neighborhood. I'd secure wood shavings at no cost from a local staircase manufacturer and sell them for a rather sizable markup, always having to calculate the cost of each rodeo association's entry fees to meet my sales quota. After all, the golden rule in our house, we had a few. One was, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. And the other was, to whom much is given, much is expected and required. That mantra stayed with me every single day of my life. And so when I went off to college, I'd been given an opportunity to attend school and naturally sought an opportunity to serve. And that's where I found that opportunity with Miles in that Boys and Girls Club in 2009. And I've served on behalf of children over the course of the last 9 years, children who don't have cows as capital. And I understand the belief that dream deserts should not define trajectories. Don't be afraid to dream outside the box. Leadership has nothing to do with age, but all about humility and being strengthened by our failures. Believe you have the audacity to make a difference. Be the type of partner that you'd want to work with. In entrepreneurial ecosystem revolution, you can do anything, but not everything. Dream big and know that the possibilities are endless for yourself, your partners, your students, and your teams. In rodeo, we are measured by our battle scars. This scar under my eye is from a fence in 2003, and I couldn't quite remember what time I was supposed to be here today, and that's probably attributed to a concussion back in 1999 while riding my favorite horse of all time. The fact that I couldn't do this in this journey to make a difference will not be easy. You will get bucked off, whether you're in New York City or Fort Worth, Texas. So saddle up and get ready to make a real difference on this ride. You can only dream what you've seen, so let's broaden the horizons of this ecosystem together towards bigger dreams and brighter futures. Thank you.
Wow, Kam, what a wonderful message, and thank you so much for being here. So inspirational. I have a granddaughter who is a writer. I understand a little bit of what you went through and what you're talking about, and I always felt like if she could control that animal, she could control people, and get things done. So thank you so much. Get her done is a great comment. I grew up with that comment also, and I like that comment. So the next lady I have the honor to present to you is a get her done type lady. I have the honor of presenting a person that is very inspiring. She's a recipient of the Entrepreneurial President of the Year Award for 2018. Yavapai College President Dr. Penny Wills has gone to great lengths to strengthen ties with her local entrepreneurial community and to establish the college as a valuable resource for Yavapai County's companies and small business owners. Believing that thriving entrepreneurs beget a healthy community, a healthy economy, an engaged and productive workforce, Dr. Wills has led the college with innovation, with collaboration, and enhanced and honest and straightforward communications. And I'll stress that last piece just a little bit because we all know in this room that the things that we do move at the speed of good, direct, and honest communications. She has created a great environment that is beneficial in reciprocal partnerships with her local businesses. She is most proud of the creation of the Regional Economic Development Center and the expansion of the Small Business Development Center. And Dr. Wills has with her tonight her husband, Ron, has our VP of Community Relations, Rodney Jenkins, and also the Director of Economic Development, Richard Hernandez. Would you please join me as we call Dr. Wills to the stage to accept the award for Entrepreneurial President of the Year for 2018.
Thank you, NACCE. Thank you, Becky. Thank you, Ed, Pam, or Kam rather. I can't thank you enough. That is exactly what's needed. This is not something, how would I say, that I deserve by myself, by any means. At Yavapai College, we have a team, a very strong team. And when my team stand up, the vice presidents, all of them are here, my husband, but also Richard Hernandez. So, and as Becky said, let's get out of the comfort zone. I'm going to exemplify that right now because this team put together a video about what we do at Yavapai, and I haven't seen it. This is called Trust. So I'm out of my comfort zone right now, so if you'll play the video, we're all in for a surprise, except these 5 people right here.
Dr. Wills, congratulations on winning NACCE's 2018 Entrepreneurial President's Award. I'm honored to be able to share with the audience some of your creative vision.
Well, first off, I'd like to congratulate Dr. Wills on this award. We here at the City of Prescott know the leadership of Dr. Wills in our city, particularly with business and economic development. And it's been a great partnership with Yavapai College and the City of Prescott and all the great things that she's done over the years. And so we are so grateful for Dr. Wills and her leadership at the college as well as in our city and our community. She does a tremendous job with the students here at Yavapai College, and we are so grateful for all that she's done for the city. So congratulations, Dr. Wills, on this award.
There was a company in town that absolutely needed Yavapai College's help. Through Penny's leadership, the entire campus, the entire college, the students, the professors, all came together. And let me tell you something, I've been in economic development for 35 years working with startup companies. I have never seen a college come together, united, under one project to make sure this company got everything it needed to be successful.
I'd like to congratulate Dr. Wills on her Entrepreneurship Award. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank her for her leadership in regional economic development and entrepreneurial development. Her impacts have been felt both in Sedona and throughout the Verde Valley. Her investment in the Regional Economic Development Center and the Small Business Development Center is much appreciated.
Congratulations, Dr. Wills, on winning this well-deserved award. I've had the privilege of working with Penny for a few years now, and she's also sitting on my board of directors. She's a champion of economic development, and it is a true blessing to work with an individual, a college president that has a full notion, a full knowledge of what economic development entails, from initial project to final ribbon cutting.
The Small Business Development Center has helped us with providing conference rooms to meet with our staff. Also, business advice and counseling along the way, and most importantly, probably for us as a company and growing, is helping us achieve our first Small Business Administration loan. I would like to congratulate and thank Dr. Penny Wills on winning her national award.
In 2012, Dr. Wills commissioned a study to evaluate economic development in Yavapai County. The results of that study were the creation of the Regional Economic Development Center at Yavapai College, affectionately known as the REDC. The REDC serves the community by providing economic analysis, data reports, services, workforce enhancement, and job training. And it's a powerhouse. The REDC also is home to the Small Business Development Center, a SBA program, where we provide free one-on-one counseling to young entrepreneurial startups. and to existing businesses in the community. Her dedication and years of service to enhancing economic development in Yavapai County are a testament to this award she receives tonight.
Well, that was humbling. Wow. That was very humbling. Thank you, team. Thank you. You know, one of the things that I very much appreciate is that, you know, this doesn't come over you just overnight. Is there anyone from Georgia here at this time? Hey, Georgia is where we had a town, and please share that with your colleagues, in Rome, Georgia, where 3 individuals introduced me to economic development. I was a vice president at that time of student affairs. And what they taught me was partnerships, 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 partnerships. I moved on to Iowa. Is anybody from Iowa here? I know the new president of NACCE. Okay, yeah, okay, there we go. And president of a very rural town, or it's a college. And that college, our largest town was Dubuque, okay, big, 75,000, but the next largest town was 7,500. And just as Kim had the cows, we had the other cows of Guernseys, Holsteins, etc. But anyway, the whole theme of that and power of that was respect, thus Aretha. But respect of what entrepreneurship, what economic development means to small towns. And I'm very, very in love with rural economic development. It's very challenging, but wow, it means so much more than just money. It's that whole value and that respect for each other in those partnerships. Then moving to a college that I don't, sorry group, but I don't think it's any better than Yavapai College. Very complex, but right in their mission statement, it talks about regional economic development. And my staff has heard me say time and time again, let's connect the dots. The value of education, ... regional economic development, ... quality of life. And you talk about the small towns and what's happening across this nation. There's where the vibrancy is. And I have yet to ever experience a day where I didn't feel like we were all striving and doing to make a difference. On behalf of all of us at Yavapai College, I want to thank you and just thank you for this wonderful award. Thanks, team.